Four top 12 teams went down today, all to unranked teams. Not that much of a surprise these days because I feel like we see it every Saturday. But I'll run through the four. And I want to know which one you guys are most surprised at and which team you're most worried about. Arizona, they were the last one to go down. They lose at Stanford. Tennessee loses at home to Missouri. Kansas State loses in Lubbock to Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that has 2 league wins all year. Iowa State loses in Hilton to Oklahoma State, a surprising one. Those are 4 fairly surprising results, to be honest. If you had said any of those, I'd probably be surprised by all of them. Sweeney, which one worries you the most?
I think Tennessee, because of the trend, right? It's now 3 of 4 that they've lost, and they haven't lost to great teams either, right? They lost to Florida, who is not in the NCAA tournament as of today. They lost to Vanderbilt, who's, on a little bit of a hot streak, but still not a very good basketball team. And then they lost on their home court to Mizzou and got torched, right? The whole sales pitch with this Tennessee team was, well, the offenses come and go, but man, they are good defensively. They got up 86 points. They got, and sure, some of that shooting, right? Mizzou shot 14 of 26 from 3. That doesn't happen every day. But at the same time, this is a concerning trend with the Tennessee team that I think until February 1st was one of the 3 best teams in the country. Maybe they didn't have one of the 3 best chances to win the tournament.
I'm going to push back on that. I'm going to push back. They beat Kansas, but they beat a bunch of crappy teams by a lot of points. So the numbers, everybody, the analytics darlings love Tennessee because they're beating the shit out of teams.
How many teams have a package of wins like neutral Kansas and home Texas? That's a heck of a double of wins.
It is.
And won those both by double figures.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just felt like they weren't in that exclusive group that people were putting them in because their analytics were so good because they were beating teams by 20, 30 points. That's all I'll say is people were putting them in a different category than they should have been in.
That's fair.
I think they were in that next tier. Like people were trying to put them in that elite tier. And I'm like, there's no way they can't score. They don't have a dude that can just break you down and go get you one. Tyler, out of those 4 games, is there a team that worries you that's just going to fall off or Sweeney said Tennessee. I was actually surprised at that.
I agree with Sweeney. And the reason I say that is because of the trend. And if you lose to, 2 of these 3 losses have been at home. And that's tough to make sense of, especially for the expectations that Tennessee has and the labels that people have given them. And they did, by the way, have somebody step up. I think Key went off the nighter, the one kid. But to me, when I watched the game, at that, that buzzer beater, you got to be up and pressuring that kid. It was just like they expected time to expire. And to me, that's a losing play. And winning teams get up there and they guard and make a tough shot. And I don't think they lose today. Now Missouri's been hot and cold as well. I mean, they've had some pretty good wins, and they've been up and down. But
you and I were wrong. Hey, I think you and I can both admit we were wrong on Missouri.
I agree with that,
yeah.
And I think a lot of that came from their fan base kind of coming at me a little bit. So I tried to make sense of
me too.
Why they're losing a little
I'm right there with you with them. But I didn't
Dennis Gates has done a good job.
Yeah. Dennis Gates has done a really good job, and those players have done a great job of grinding stuff out this year. This was a big win for them because their numbers weren't great. Everybody had them in the field is like probably a 9, but if they went on a bad stretch at the end of the year here, they could have been like bubble or maybe first 4 because, again, their net not great. A lot of their analytics are not great. The one I'm worried about the most, guys, to me, and it's no surprise, is Iowa State. I just don't, they can't score. They just can't score. Tennessee can't score either, but I think Tennessee's got more still potential, if that makes sense, to be able to score. I'm not I love Zakai Ziegler, but I hate, we've talked about this, like small guards. I don't love small guards. unless they have the speed of one Ty Lawson. And there aren't many that have the speed of Ty Lawson, as Tyler knows. Tyler, how many easy buckets did you get from Ty Lawson running the court?
Many. It's not many people. I mean, we had a play just kind of get out of his way, set a screen for him at half court and just kind of let him use his speed. But when you have a guard like that, it opens up a lot of things.
So Iowa State I just don't know if they can sustain, and they're going to find the magic again like they did last year in the NCAA tournament, right? Like they're older, and I think that gave them a good start to the season as well. They were a new team, but you had a bunch of older dudes who weren't getting big NIL, who were focused on the right things, who came from pretty good programs, culture-wise, all that. So they got off to a good start. You know, they were 5-1 in the league. Now they're 7-5. They've lost 4 of their last 5. I just worry they're going to hold on for their lives, and they'll be fine. They're going to get in. But now you're talking about playing a tough first-round opponent and maybe bowing out probably in the first round. So they're the ones. I'm not worried about Arizona at all. You know, Tubelis was awful. He was in foul trouble all game. I think he played like 15 minutes, and I don't know if he had a rebound tonight. He was that bad. But, you know, everybody's entitled to one. And Stanford, obviously, they were making every shot too. They're making every 3. So I'm not really concerned about them. Are you guys worried about Kansas State? That's the one that I'm kind of torn on right now because Keontae wasn't great tonight. Noel's been good, but not elite like he was for a stretch. And they lose in Lubbock to a Texas Tech team that, you know, frankly, that they're not very good.
I mean, I would say that I think people got too excited about Kansas State. Like, this was never really a top 10 team. They have 2 amazing players. They can win any game because of those 2 guys. But you look realistically at what they have. I don't think they should have ever been in that conversation. The analytics never really said they should have been either. They were they were still in the 20s really for the entirety of the year. So to me, I think Water's really just finding its level with this group. To me, like I think they're like a 4 or a 5 seed type of team.
And that would be a hell of a year.
Unbelievable. I mean that's National Coach of the Year. That's National Coach of the Year for what Tang's done. But when you look at the roster outside of Noel and John, it's limited. And I think that's what you're feeling.
Yeah. Arizona, you worried at all?
Only concerned a little bit about the defense, which was really bad today. They had been great. They'd actually, per T-Rank, I know we've got pull out your Torvik shirts. You can go buy them. So in their winning streak since mid-January, Arizona had the 2nd best defense in the country. Today, they get torched by Stanford. Is it a one-off? Let's watch it. Let's watch. Because the defense was really bad for the first couple months. They finally locked in on that end of the floor. Today, I just don't think the effort was there on that end.
I just so worry, and Tyler, you'd be good to ask this question too. They have 2 bigs that aren't the most capable of guarding on the perimeter or guarding on switches, right? They're just not. And last year they had Koloko, who I don't know if you remember, but he was a big athletic. He's in the NBA right now. He can guard anybody. He can switch on anybody. Didn't matter. Right now with Ballo and Tubelis, I love them both. Ballo's come down to earth a little bit. Tubelis has maintained it and even been better offensively. But I just worry in this day and age, like, can those guys, are they going to be good enough defensively in the tournament?
Absolutely. And I think for me, it's also an advantage on the other end. You can beat people up. You can take advantage of them inside. You can out-rebound them. I think it also gives you some advantage. Just what viewpoint are you looking at it from? And to me, teams can go cold in the tournament. And shots, you know, nerves play a big factor, new rims. It's a neutral court. And so you put a lot of pressure on yourself. So, I'm not worried about Arizona, actually. I like the 2 bigs, and I think they bring a lot to the table. So I wouldn't put too much thought into that.